Let's see if this is working. I'll tell y'all this now. My chair has been extra creaky today. Like, if I barely move, it's gonna freaking creak. So I'm hoping that doesn't pick up on the mic. It might. I don't really know. I'm just trying to think of things to talk about. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Think everything is working. I think we're here for another episode of MyGM on WWE 2K25. And I will be honest with you. I'm not going to say I was half-assed paying attention last episode, but it wasn't until I clicked back on here and saw there were at show 21 that, like, we're almost to WrestleMania. Our 5th WrestleMania, I believe. All right, let's go look. Yes. No. I'm on the wrong page. Yes, our 5th WrestleMania. I've not made a decision yet. I'm fairly certain that our next season will be our last season in December, and then once we get into 2026, which isn't crazy to say we're about to be in a new year, less than a month from now, we might do a new AHS Play Series. I don't know yet. I'm not making any guarantees, but kind of feels that's the trajectory we're going on. But in the course of this video, we should finish out this season, go to our 5th WrestleMania, have another draft, and we will go from there. It just kind of feels like a nice time to tie things up. We're about to reach max levels with so many things and whatnot. I will say, and I've said this to y'all several times, us not being in the lead with the fans does hurt a little bit. And then I will follow that up with saying, I don't care. I entered the Hall of Fame first. It does bother me. Like, I can say it doesn't bother me. It does a little bit. So I'm going to try my darndest to make it to the lead in the fans at the end of this season and go from there. If we're not, once we get to next season, we're throwing everything. We're going balls to the walls, as we could say. Throwing everything at the wall and just doing things that I want to do and not things to necessarily meet the criteria to get the fans. But we got a ways away to go before that. So let's go ahead and get this episode done. I've already wrote all this down. I'm also filming this after the Survivor Series. So current WWE kind of pisses me off. It kind of does. But it's also like, I half-ass pay attention. And so it's not like every little thing. Trish Stratus is hurt for how long? 3 weeks. That's not good. I don't know. I wouldn't say Survivor Series was bad. Like, the comparison that I'm going to make is probably going to be a wild one. I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was just nothing. It was nothing. This should have been a show that felt special, and it just kind of didn't. And my comparison would be like, if you're going to eat a cheeseburger, and they hand the cheeseburger to you, this show felt like they handed it to you and forgot the meat and are like, hey, enjoy this. And that's not, what anybody probably wanted to do, if we're just being honest. And I've seen a lot of people say the show was bad. It was just, to me, it was nothing. That's kind of how I felt about it. And it's kind of how I feel about the current WWE product. It's just, there are so many talented people in this company, and it feels that we've just been seeing the same thing over and over again. Like the Judgment Day run-ins. I hate that John Cena's last pay-per-view match is going to be tied to that. Because a couple years from now, people will go back and look at John Cena's retirement run, and that, they'll see that and go, this is what they actually did here. The Judgment Day probably should have ended a long-ass time ago, but they trying to milk. They look at the Judgment Day probably at the same level as... They probably look at the Judgment Day as the same level as the Bloodline, which the Bloodline was a main event act and big deal. And I don't know if the Judgment Day was ever really at that level. So Dominic it's funny that I'm bringing up the Judgment Day and then Dominic appears, because Dominic is supposed to be working Roman Reigns for the world title. But I think that really bothered the hell out of me. Because if it was any other time, I don't think it would have bothered me, but it being for Cena, like, last pay-per-view match, and just to give him and again, I think everybody would have been more interested in Cena going into his last match as Intercontinental Champion and either losing it to whoever wins this tournament. I'm filming this before the tournament ends, and if it's Gunther, it's Gunther. And we know that Gunther has had one of the best, if not the best, Intercontinental title run. So seeing him try to redo that, or Cena potentially winning that match and see what the hell they do there instead of just giving the title back to Dominic. And because I just think we're about to be see the same shit again with Dominic as champion. So that I just hate that. And also the idea that we got the Cena Dominic match on Raw, and so at Survivor Series, we should have saw Cena do something different. Because there's so much this year with Cena's retirement run that they didn't do. Like, he never interacted with Carmelo Hayes, never interacted with Bron Breakker. Like, so much of this year in the Cena retirement run was just it's going to be a bunch of what ifs now. I personally don't have a lot of problems with Cena's retirement run. I will say, if you had to ask me, I would say my biggest problem was probably that, 1 month stretch where it ended up kind of being R-Truth's retirement run, and they tied him into it. And it kind of, from the outside looking in, the R-Truth stuff looked like Cena trying to save the day and be good to R-Truth because the WWE was about to do him dirty and let him go. And so it seemed like Cena was like, hey, let's give R-Truth some run. And then they're like, okay. And then it took off from there. And it's kind of, it's extremely laughable now because it was pointless. It was pointless. And I can't believe a pay-per-view this year was Cena and Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody White. Come the hell on. They should have done Cena and Punk at Money in the Bank this year. I know they did it at Night of Champions. It would have been 10 times better at Money in the Bank. A straight-up match, by the way. All right. Enough of me rambling about current WWE. I'll probably end up having to do it again at some point. So, I need to do this. I want Sid feuding with Drew McIntyre, but Seth requested a match with Drew McIntyre, so that's why we had to do that match now, or last week. We're supposed to be doing Sid and Drew McIntyre, like I said. Jey Uso is finally back. He has been gone for 10 weeks as our U.S. champion. So our opening contest is going to be a cage match with Sid and Tyrese, just to conclude their rivalry. Dominic wants a shot at the U.S. title, which is, again, very hilarious because I was supposed to give him a world title shot. He wants a U.S. title shot. I think that is fair. Okay, I think I know what we're actually going to do now. I think we're going to do Braun and Roman instead, because we don't really have anything for Braun. So we need to make Bron Breakker a fighter, correct? Let's make Braun a fighter. We might even do a Hell in a Cell match with Braun. We'll wait on that one. Bron Breakker, fighter. Main event, Jey Uso's big return, and he will be going against Dominic Mysterio for the U.S. title. Commissioner goal, least popular star in a match, which is Ilya Dragunov. So we could do Ilya and Carmelo Hayes in a backstage brawl. Next week, we might do Trick versus Sheamus in a cage match. I'm not making any guarantees there. And then the week after that, we're finally doing the tag title match, Ilya and Sheamus versus Carmelo and Trick. And right here, what do we need? We need Jade. I'd prefer to have Jade in a match. Who all do we... So, Stephanie and Rhea versus Jade and Bianca. I have my questions on if that's going to happen because Bianca is not extremely happy with us and has been injured most of the time since being here. And I don't necessarily have anything to make her happy at the moment. We need Jade in a match. I also have no memory of Kalani and Rhea being in a rivalry. I think we're going to do, and it is a bit obscure, a fatal 4-way title match with Tiffany. I hate that tie all of our tie. I'm not that against Stephanie Vaquer winning this title. That way we could have Rhea and Stephanie be double champions. I'm not that against that. I think low key we might go that route. Because I did see a fixed match card here. And it is hilarious that we use our fixed match card on this, even though we've been needing this for quite a while. Do we give it to Stephanie or do we give it to Rhea? Do we make Rhea a triple champion? It's also funny because this is the second season in a row. I was going to say, it isn't now, but Stephanie Vaquer is going to win this match. Yes, it is an obscure match. Can we get Bianca back? How long is Bianca out? Is Bianca only out one more week? I'm going to the wrong thing. Bianca's only out one more week. And I didn't even see us have. We don't even have an injury rehab card. What the hell happened there? I thought we had several. I remember us having 2. I have no memory. All right. I just guess I don't remember anything from the last episode besides us, Son, and Sid. There's a high chance we don't do anything with Seth Rollins as well. Because I don't even remember having any plans for Seth. Alright. What do we do here? Is that the biggest deal? All right, I'm all right with this match. Let's put a stipulation on this one. We can't go too crazy with it because it's Juice's first match back. We'll actually just keep it a. We're gonna put the women's title match in the main event because I know there's a guaranteed title change there. So Tiffany versus Jade versus Rhea versus Stephanie Vaquer. And then Dominic versus Jey Uso. Alright. So, our go-home show, Bron versus Roman, Sid versus Drew, Jey Uso versus Dominic, Ilya and Sheamus versus Carmelo and Trick, Rhea and Stephanie versus Jade and Bianca. And then whatever those matches delivers the best will be the 2 matches that carry over to Mania. If we need a replacement for anything, it'll probably be Trish Stratus or Seth Rollins involved because there's a high chance of that stuff happening as well. So I'm writing all this down. I was thinking to myself about the WWE before I started talking. And assessing the whole year because we have a month left, but there's not another pay-per-view until the end of January, which is insane. I know that Saturday Night's Main Event you could consider a pay-per-view, but it isn't really. I think, and I've said this for a while, until the money starts to dry up, which for some reason I don't think I would hope that Mania, money-wise, disappoints because they screwed over the fans of New Orleans, and WrestleMania this year in Vegas didn't feel like that special or that good to warrant them going immediately back, Till the money dries up, I don't think they're going to be overly caring about what we see on TV. I feel like what we see is very repetitive, in my opinion. It's kind of why I just half-ass pay attention. I hate that CM Punk is world champion right now, and it kind of feels forgotten because the last month was tied up with War Games and not even really caring about him being world champion. And anytime that we do, it's Roman Reigns looking at the title and everybody being like, oh, he should be the next world champion. And I love Roman Reigns. If he's going to be world champion again, he needs to be there a lot more. So that's like a bit of a concern there. I do feel that Roman will win the Rumble because I feel that I think they were going to do him and Seth at Mania, and he was going to win the Rumble and face Seth. And they probably didn't want to change it that much because the two world champion right now, Roman also has history with and could deliver Mania-worthy main events with. But I also, if we're going to, I don't know. I think him and Cody definitely is the more interesting match because I don't know who wins. I think the argument for Cody is that my argument would be Cody should win, but I feel the fans are going to be on Roman's side this time, which that's what's going to make this hypothetical match, a lot different. And then it gives you the chance to do something really, really good with Punk, which would hopefully, that would be my hope, but again, the key word there is hope, because you have a lot of good options, but I don't want them to do something bullshit. And if you look at the SmackDown roster, the only person that would like really be worthy of facing Cody at Mania would be Randy. And I don't know if the fans are going to be entirely on Cody's side in that match either. So there's the risk there as well. There's Abyss and Shaq need to have a match. I also want it to be. I don't remember if I said it. Whoa, the Good Brothers collide. Okay, I can see why NXT picked up momentum. The week that I had Shaq and Dominic feuding in our MyGM was the same week that TNA did Open Fight Night, and there's an episode where Shaq appears in the backstage area and is talking with Hulk Hogan, so he's in the thumbnail of that video. So in the same week that I had Shaq on here was the same week that TNA uploaded that to the YouTube channel. So what did I know? Okay, now we're going to give Bianca a bonus, which I'm glad that we have the money for at least. I hate that I had to do that, but I knew it was going to happen. Have at least one tables match. We have a morale booster. We don't. We have a fixed match. I'm going to buy these two. Because I feel that they could be useful. I'm trying to essentially keep everybody in bubble wrap this week. I think our main event, we will do a tag team match with the competitors, and then next week we'll put the titles on the line. So Rhea and Stephanie versus Bianca and Jade. I'll take a screenshot of this. This might end up in the thumbnail because this is a big time, but I don't know what to title it at the moment. I wish that Sid was a bit healthier. I will admit I wish Sid was a bit healthier. I did say I was going to do a Trick and Sheamus match in a cage to conclude their rivalry. Tyrese was supposed to... I don't remember who I said Tyrese is going to feud with. We realistically need like a multi-man match with Bron winning. That way we could say that's what qualifies him to face Roman next week. And then we could do a triple threat with Kalani, Io, and Tiffany. So we'll do that here. Because we don't really have anything else for them. Unless, plans end up changing with that. I think we'll actually do Jey Uso and Dominic in a backstage brawl. And then we will have Bron Breakker call out Roman Reigns. We will have Drew McIntyre. This is a very rare week that we do call out promos, but at least they make sense this week. Drew calling out Sid. And ultra rare tag team call out because I don't think we're using Sheamus. What are we doing with Sheamus? Oh, okay. I was going to say the ultra rare tag team call out, but I forgot we had Sheamus in the opening match. Somebody here needs to do a charity promo. We'll have it be Seth. All right. There's just no stipulation for like I could put these women in. We got to for the fans' sake. We'll do a backstage brawl, even though it doesn't make that much sense. Sheamus and Trick Williams, Steel Cage. We have backup plans if in case things go wrong. Is the best way to put it. Granted, I should just like look past that and not even say that and just hope that we could do the initial plans. Is there anything else to rant about with current data? Because that's what I've been doing while writing all this down. I don't know. I feel like I hit all the heads on the nail. Just very repetitive product, very like protective product. Just nothing overly exciting going on. I it's gonna sound crazy because I think once John Cena's gone, I don't know if it's going to hit us, the fans, or WWE, because this year was mainly they were protected with the John Cena blanket. They're like, okay, we could just put John Cena out there on the cover of this with the t-shirts, and like this is going to be a successful year because it was his retirement run, even though so many fans have been against it and hated it, which understandable to be honest. Where next year they're not going to have that. They're not going to have that whatsoever. There's been talks of other retirement runs going on, but John Cena is the biggest star for WWE the last 20 years. So that nobody's going to come close to that as much as they would hope it does. So I'm going to hope that they realize that and step it up is the best way to put it. And that, I think, it 100% starts at the Rumble. But you need to knock WrestleMania out of the park this year. If we picked and choose, because for WrestleMania so many years, or obviously one-night events, we could probably pick the same amount of good to, like, fill up one event, but you could also do the same to fill up for a bad event. So, like, if you picked and choose, you could, like, define WrestleMania as good this year. But I think the things that were most memorable about the event were bad. So you don't necessarily want that to happen again, especially with it being in Vegas again, which I already ran over. I just realized I should have used so many damn power cards because we're not going to be able to use them next week. I know I was forgetting something, but we can also just save them for next season. As Kalani wins. Good for her. And ended up injured. Sorry. Dominic wins right in Jey Uso's pockets. It's also very hot, which, all right, it's hot in my room. It's not hot outside, so take that as you will. As Jade and Bianca win. AEW, I also feel, because this is the thing, like, when I've talked about, like, if I'm wanting to watch WWE, I don't want to be thinking about AEW. If I'm watching AEW, I don't want to be thinking about WWE. So I hate that, like, when Survivor Series is going on, and it's not even, like, halfway done, everyone's like, oh, let's just watch AEW. Like, I don't want to think about, I want to worry about them on their own, you know? Okay. Oh, Jesus. Why do I gotta give a bonus this week? I ain't got to. She ain't gonna leave, but she gonna get this. She gonna do this match tonight. All right. I think that Braun and Roman probably needs to be our opener. We'll come back. We'll come back and think about that. Women's tag team title match. Tornado tag. We have so many options. We'll probably do a tornado tag. But the champs versus Jade and Bianca. Boom. I think that's a good main event. Trish is out another week. Kalani is out 4 weeks. We're finally crowning men's tag champions. With who? I don't know yet. Or with who? I know. What stipulation? I don't know. I was also trying to hold my sneeze in for as long as I could, and it wasn't going to last. All right. But Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. We're doing this match. We'll put a stipulation on it. Let me go ahead and put the tag titles there. All right, boom. Every match I would like to be a title match, but obviously can't be the case because we put the women's title. All right. That's not that big of a deal. Dominic and Jey Uso in a match. I think I'm willing to do this as an ambulance match, if I'm being honest. Or a casket match. The very rare casket match. I'll put it. If I had to like cut cost, I might change that to an ambulance match. Sid and Drew McIntyre will do as an ambulance match. And then in the middle, in a TLC match, we will do the crowning of the tag team titles. And then we will do charity promos for everybody here that is available, which we have enough. I'm hoping to put Trish in our brand showcase match. All right. It's look at that. Look at that. All right. How many of these power cards could we use this week? Because I don't think I can use any. I gotta use this. I can save money by discounting. You know what? We'll go ahead and use this week to save money. I don't know if that really helps us that much. And I'm not going to fix any of the matches. Whatever happens, happens. So I was able to, can't be used in the last week. I think they're telling me once we, okay, so I think I could actually, I could actually use these this week. It's just once, if we were at show 25 right now, we wouldn't, which makes sense because there's no show the week after. So I'm glad that I actually did all that, but there's also, again, not that many cards because you can't use. Which one would this hurt more? Who's in the lead? NXT, so we're going to use this on NXT. Much as I don't like going after Shawn Michaels. Alright. Let's put this in a stipulation. This match will more than likely repeat at Mania. So, we'll just settle. We'll do a last man standing this week, and then go with a bigger stipulation at Mania. Alright. Episode 124. Roman Reigns versus Bron Breakker, WWE title, last man standing. Is there anything else to complain about current WWE? I know I said this several times. There probably is. I just don't know off the top of my head. Dominic Mysterio versus Jey Uso in a casket match for the U.S. title. I started complaining about AEW, even though this is the 1 month you shouldn't really. The Continental Classic, could I say, people I've seen several complaints saying, does the Continental Classic need storylines? Thing one, no, it doesn't. It's the 1 month because so many people complain about AEW now and saying, oh, there's no storylines, it's just matches. This is the 1 month that should be the case. And then I saw complaints and like things saying like, oh, should there be storylines in the Continental? This is the one time they're actually getting storylines because like John Moxley's losing streak, he's already broke it, but he's going to be like extra weary of it. Okada, like legitimately, the Don Callis family, like they've been with Okada and Takeshita, and now Kyle Fletcher's interjected himself into it. So like, there legitimately already are storylines. So I don't know what that complaint is about. A lot of people complain about Samoa Joe winning the world title, which I could only understand it if you felt like Hangman was like robbed / wronged because the 2 times that he was world champion, it kind of felt like people didn't care as much, which I can understand. But I feel that a lot of people that are complaining about it say that Samoa Joe is old and he shouldn't be world champion. Samoa Joe is awesome and has been great his entire AEW run, and him winning the world title is crazy and somewhat unpredictable. So I'm not complaining about it. I will say, and I say this anytime the AEW world title changes hands, they need to know what they're doing next. If not, then there should be cause for concern. And I don't know if they entirely know what they're doing next. So there's that to complain about. Rhea Ripley and Stephanie. Also, we got Ring of Honor Final Battle this week. Cheap plug, because this week on the channel is very Final Battle themed because we have our Final Battle 2010 review, which as the time of talking, I've not watched the event, but that might be what I do next. And then obviously we'll have our Final Battle preview on this week's TV review. Women's Tag Title TLC. Alright, big episode right here. You know what would help? If because Bianca, everybody here in our main event is almost a level 25. And so we could like classify this as the showcase of the Immortals. So I think what I'm going to do is just have this as the thumbnail and title the video showcase of the Immortals because everybody has used it except for Trish Stratus, sadly, which is one of our few Immortals that are actually on the roster. But this is a crazy ass card that I'm proud of, and I'm glad that we're getting to. Because I went in with a plan, and we're getting to do it all. Because normally, once we get to the show, somebody gets vetoed, and we're not able to, or somebody's injured. So we're getting to do it. So that might just be the thumbnail. But y'all will know before me. As Roman retains, Roman reigns supreme. That used to be an old saying that I haven't heard in a long time. Dominic Mysterio, Jey Uso, not a good sign for us. He was hurt most of the time, and then he came back and just lost, which, is that on us? I don't know. Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, good for them. Do we draft Sheamus and Ilya to keep this rivalry going into next season? Because I feel that Trick and Melo we will keep because they did so well for us. Sid wins. Is there much more for Sid to do on our roster as well? So we do have new women's tag team champions. El Grande Americano versus Shaquille O'Neal. I also want it to be known, like people that watch wrestling and not basketball, they saw that Shaquille O'Neal was added to this game. Do they call him Shaq or they say Shaquille O'Neal the whole time? I feel that, and again, it might just be me because I'm a basketball and wrestling fan. Do people know who Shaq is? I feel they have to because he's on so many commercials and infomercials and was one of the most popular and best basketball players of all time. You know, it's just trying to be me thinking from the outside. All right, we're at WrestleMania. As Roman is not allowed to be here. Hey, isn't it about time you put me in a PLE event? All right. We might have just lied to Sheamus. Have at least one Hell in a Cell match this week. I think we could do that. All right. I think we're going to put Braun in this match. We're going to put Trish in this match. We are going to have... Could we do a tag team Hell in a Cell? We can. All right, which one do we put in the Hell in the Cell? Because one of these matches needs to be a TLC. I think we're going to... All right, Sheamus, I feel bad for doing this, but there's also Hot Chester not on the roster next season. We're putting all these people in the Hell in the Cell. And then in a Fatal 4-Way TLC match for the women's title, Stephanie Vaquer, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Jade. Do we do it for the women's title or the women's U.S. title? I think whatever one it ends on, I'm sorry that it's doing this. That's hilarious. All right. Women's title. I think that does make more sense. Also, the TLC is the bonus match. It is. All right. Also, while we're over here, before we spend too much more money, let's do that. We didn't even have enough money to do any of that at the moment anyways. Trish is in this match. Bron Breakker's in this match. We need to do 2 promos with Sid and... I'd rather have EO on the show than Seth. Sorry, Seth. Not really. Alright, this is a good-ass WrestleMania. How much longer until... Stephanie Vaquer is right there at level 23. Bianca's close to 24. I think if we use that on Jade, she would get there. That doesn't matter that much. Alright. We write all this down. This is going to be a quicker episode, but this week might be a little bit needed because there's already a lot going on the channel. Alright. WrestleMania 5, episode 125. Excuse me. There's also funny. I have something wrote on the back of this page, but my team notes for NBA 2K26. That being said, I don't really want to buy WWE 2K26. I hate that it's a yearly release because I just don't feel like I could say that obviously about the NBA games, and I think everybody does. It applies to Madden. It applies to all these other games. But with WWE, I feel the most that they don't change the game enough. Like, I could say this year at least they did because they added the island. But that mode, I occasionally went there. I never did anything there. Because I just know it would be cheese as hell. And everything costs money. And with 2K, I have not put any addition and Madden, I haven't even bought. I only played the free trial, but I played it for like every free moment I had that week. I'm not putting extra money into these games. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Also, I could say Fortnite. I enjoyed the Simpsons season. This new season, whatever was going to happen, was probably going to be a downgrade from the Simpsons season. I've yet to try the new season, but I've not the happiest with it from what I've seen. As Bron Breakker loses this match, it would have been nice for him to win this match. All right. Massive matchup right here. Stephanie Vaquer versus her tag partner Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill in a women's title TLC match. Which we have yet to do our illustrious Rhea Ripley Stephanie Vaquer match. I will admit, I do know that. Will that happen? I can't make any guarantees, but this might be the setup for women's title. I wrote TLC first. Who wins? Because I just got pin all over my finger now. As Jade wins. And she is out for 5 weeks. Sid. It's nice having Sid on the roster, but I don't know if he'll be coming back. I feel that the only guarantee is Carmelo and Tripp because they have done so well for us. They fit the mold of people that we can put in tag team rivalries. Tag team title Hell in a Cell. Which is hilarious, and they immediately lost the tag titles. So again, this is a good week to do a shorter episode because there's so much going on. I could also tell you this right now. We're about to go into this draft. I have no game plan, no nothing. No, I know that's a double negative, but that's the best way to look at it. ECW, I swear, there's no way ECW should be in the lead after this. We should freaking be over. I suggested the Body Ventura. I really want him on my roster. I don't know if that's going to be entirely possible. I love that NXT only brought him in. Hey, also, will admit, him not being at that last Saturday Night's main event pissed me off, and it would have been hilarious as hell to have him at the Cena one. It still could happen, but I doubt it since somebody is insecure and doesn't like being called out on some bullshit, even though we'll save that. I also admit him being that they have a Build-A-Figure set coming out for SummerSlam, which I don't remember. I think the WrestleMania set is Jake Roberts, Stardust, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and John Cena, because I got 4 figures. The SummerSlam set is based on the SummerSlam 1999 main event, which is Mankind, Stone Cold, Triple H, and Chyna. What sucks about that is I think that all of those figures will somewhat be a re-release. I am going to hope that one of them come with the Smoking Skull Championship. I have my reservations about it, but also it is a Build-A-Figure for Jesse Ventura, which I imagine will be referee Jesse Ventura because that's why he was there. Might be the first time in a long time I complete a Build-A-Figure set. It has been, I could tell you the last. I remember doing the Paul Heyman one legitimately like 10 years ago, which was for the WrestleMania 29 set with the CM Punk figure that had a terrible head scan, and I bought another CM. This is AHS action figure lore. So I remember going to Toys R Us back in the day before it closed down, obviously, and I bought the WrestleMania 29 CM Punk and a basic edition CM Punk that had like dark hair. It was like a champion set. I don't remember what series number. I could like look it up and whatnot, but point being, I bought it and did a head swap, and the figure looks 10 times better. So we are not that far off from NXT. ECW we are, even though we just saw ECW put out a terrible ass product here. So I don't know how that's entirely possible. All right. I'm also not going to be entirely happy when we start this new season and Jackass is over here messaging us about freaking and all this. We're not even anywhere right there. I don't even remember having Oscar on our roster this season. All right, we got one more. We got, as Vince Carter would say, we got one more in us. We already won, and I'm only going to say that because we're behind in the fans. We already won because we have the number 1 spot, but we got one more in us. As my Xbox is getting loud as hell. It always gets loud as hell at this part, though. All right. We get 3 protected picks. And Sid does look intriguing as hell. Sid looks intriguing as hell. We got to keep Rhea Ripley. She has been our main star. I think we go Rhea. I really want Sid because we can't draft Sid because he's a Hall of Famer, but there's just not much for him to do. I want Rhea. I feel that Rhea wouldn't last long in the draft. And Bianca and Jade kind of give us a lot of problems. I'm only not going to protect Mello and Trick because Trick is hurt at the moment. I think we go Rhea, Stephanie, and Roman so he can keep the title. Rhea, Stephanie, and Roman. It is hilarious because Rhea is the women's U.S. champion. And Roman. All right. So we need Roman to carry us again for another season. Do we even want Roman? Do we want Roman? Do we want Roman? Is there anybody here that I would take over Roman? To be honest, not really. Bron, maybe, but I plan on drafting Bron with our first pick to continue their rivalry. So I'm all right with this. So, season 6 draft. I'm not making any confirmations on if this is the last season or not, but there's a high chance of it. Roman Reigns, WWE champion. Rhea Ripley, women's U.S. champion. And her tag partner, Stephanie Vaquer, with obviously, again, the goal this season is to get the Rhea Stephanie Vaquer match that we've been planning for at least 2, maybe 3 seasons. So we will go from there. All right. Jesse Ventura is on NXT. We might have to trade for him. I really think it'd be cool to have Jesse Ventura on our roster, especially in feud with Roman Reigns. But we would have to wait a month at least for that. All right. I said I wanted Bron Breakker to continue his rivalry with Roman. So let's go ahead and get Bron Breakker. Wesley would have been nice, but I'm still pissed that the one season that we had RVD on our roster, I wanted to draft Wesley and team them together, and they, like, RVD, they wouldn't let us keep for some reason. All right. Oba Femi, we do need to bring back because he did very well the last season that he was here. We're also about to run into the issue, and this is why, again, I'm leaning towards it being the last season where everything's going to feel very repetitive because we've essentially had everybody on our roster at one point or another. Jordan Grace was here for a very short time period. Why Ashante the Adonis is so expensive and a level 5, I don't entirely understand. We're still at the $3 million mark, and we have 4 picks, so that is a good thing. Jacob Fatu, I wouldn't mind having back. I want to go ahead and get Carmelo and Trick, so if I don't pass Trick, okay, Trick costs a lot of money. What they're going to do at the moment, I am not entirely sure. Randy Orton also was only here for a short time period. We go ahead and get Carmelo and Trick. They're going to be our main tag team. I see Penta, but I don't know if I have anything planned for Penta. SmackDown selects Trick Williams. Trick Williams bringing the gift of gab and the gift of jab to a new brand. A guy who will never give up. Not in the ring, not for this brand. Who will join SmackDown in mere moments? SmackDown drafts Carmelo Hayes. NXT is wide open here with their next selection. Team Red looking to round out its roster with this pick. A tough choice against the SmackDown GM. We didn't get a lot out of Gunther, if I'm being honest. Gunther was only here for a short time period. LA Knight. I think I want Owens and Zayn back. I think that's the route we're about to go. If I pass Sami Zayn, or is he on another roster? Okay, let's go this way. He's got a jacket on. I know that Sammy always has a jacket on. So the lower I go is better. Okay, there he is. There he is. All right. I was getting a bit concerned. The lower you go, the less it costs. So Trick and Mello versus Owens and Zayn. Final Battle 2010. Main eventers. We need to spice the upper women's division. I'm not against bringing Bianca back. Naomi did some good. I want to bring. We might bring Naomi back as well and pair her with Bianca. Jordan Grace would be nice to have. Soruka did well for us. Gigi Dolan was not that happy the last time she was here. I think we're gonna bring. Oh, Bianca costs so much money though. We're gonna go with Naomi for sure right here. We're going with Naomi because she did well for us. Bianca did not cost so much. We would go with Bianca, but she cost a little bit too much for my liking. Dakota Kai didn't really get to do much for us when she was here. Is there someone here? There's probably somebody here we could pair her with. I just don't know off the top of my head. Julia did not get to do a lot for us when she was here, sadly. Kairi Sane. Maxine Dupree we never really did a lot with. Alexa Bliss was not here for that long. Who would be best suited to team with Naomi? If we brought Jordan Grace in, I don't really know what we'd have planned for, so I'll probably pass on that. I don't want to bring Kalani in because I feel she faced everybody last season. Charlotte, we have not had on our roster at all. Same with Liv Morgan. I feel like women's division wise, we're kind of just repeating a lot of the same stuff. We bring Dakota Kai in and pair her with Raquel, reunite them. And so we could have Raquel versus Rhea, Stephanie versus Dakota, and Naomi versus someone else. I think we might actually go that route. So I'll start with Dakota. Bring Dakota in first. As Julia did get drafted. And then we'll bring in Raquel, because we have also not had Raquel on our roster. I feel that Raquel and Rhea always had good matches together. Gunther going into the ninth round is kind of insane, but also I've been focused on the women that I didn't even worry about it. We bring in Kyrie as just like an insurance policy, if like we need anything, maybe. Or Lyra. I'm not that against bringing. We'll probably we're going to go with Soul because she did too well for us on our roster. We also don't have a lot of money left, by the way, sadly. How many people do we have on our roster? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 12 at the moment. So we need to make at least 2 more picks. I really wanted one of them to be AJ Styles. I also wouldn't mind Kofi Kingston. We have not had Kofi Kingston on our roster at all. Here's AJ Styles. We could probably get AJ Styles. Penta's good. I wanted to bring AJ Styles in to be our U.S. champion. And so we could do U.S. Open challenges with him because he's a specialist. And then mainly against like the lower tier talent. Andrade's contract is not that crazy. All right. Dominic. Kofi Kingston. Can't even turn Kofi to a specialist, so kind of defeats that purpose. Do we just settle with AJ? I know that Penta could be a specialist. Do we also go the route of finding like allies for Roman and Braun, since Carmelo and Kevin already have allies? Or with Roman, who could be his ally? I don't really want to go down that route again, even though it doesn't hurt. Solo Sikoa could be a pick. Who would be good for Bron Breakker? Because I already did the Bron Breakker Jacob Fatu tag team. I kind of don't want to do Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed because I don't want to like lean too close to what's going on in real life. Tama Tonga. Who would be a good tag partner for Bron Breakker here? Because we might have enough money to do all of that. We just wouldn't have any left over, which isn't the worst thing. Jey Uso, we just had on our roster and did a bunch of nothing. Eat. Who here would be a good tag partner for Bron Breakker? I'm not against it being AJ. It's like a worst case scenario. Penta, I wanted. Jimmy Uso. We never did Roman and Seth. So we might go that route and have Seth be our U.S. champion and it be the reuniting of the Shield. I also don't remember if I know we did Seth and Mello as a rivalry last season. I don't ever remember doing Roman and Trick, which is not, if that actually happened, doesn't mean it was good because I don't remember it. I remember us doing Seth and Carmelo. So Seth is a good pick. I would only do it if like somebody here like pops out and is like, they would be a good tag partner for Bron Breakker. Also, where the hell Chris Evans just got picked? I was like, where the hell is Chris Evans? I know he's not. He wouldn't team with Bron Breakker. I was just saying I haven't seen Chris because Chris Evans for the longest time was in our side recommendation things. I also wouldn't mind because now I'm also looking at it through the eyes of who would be a good rival for Seth Rollins. Austin Theory kind of fits that, but again, that's too close to what's going on in real life, and also I kind of hate that. Johnny Gargano. Cedric Alexander is not a bad choice. Sean Spears. I will not be bringing Angelo Dawkins back because he tried to screw us out of money at one time. I did not forget. Angelo Dawkins fits that. There's probably several other people, but I know Angelo Dawkins. I remember Angelo Dawkins specifically. I want to keep going through this. We might just do Dominic. Dominic and Seth. I didn't really want to do that rivalry, but that might be the route that we go. Anybody else? I will look one more time. Worst case scenario, we'll just stick with Dominic. I think we're going Dominic. As much as I want AJ here. I'd rather reunite. Do I want U.S. Open challenges with AJ, or do I want to reunite the Shield? I know my answer is I want the U.S. Open challenges with AJ. But it's probably more difficult in real life to reunite the Shield, so. The Motor City Machine Guns are now broken up. Dominic, you're getting one more chance on our roster. And we might could actually do Dominic and Roman this time because we didn't get to do it at all last season. That was like a big plan. But Roman had to go film a movie, and then Dominic got hurt. So how much money do we have left for any pick? Or do we just carry? We're just going to carry this money over. Because we don't, like... I'm not one to go bankrupt for... Lola Vice would be nice, but, like, she was hard to work with when she was here. Kiana James, I don't think we've ever had her on the roster. Electra Lopez, I know we had her for, like, a hot minute. I also love that the recommendations legitimately only show the 3 people that would be eligible to draft, so... As much as I would have liked AJ back, it's not impossible. We'll just have to wait. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this done. Our potential last draft. We have a lot less to work with this time around, but we kind of have an idea of what we're going to do with everybody. So I can at least give NXT credit. NXT looks decent at the moment. And I can only give them that credit because they have Chris Sabin. And the Good Brothers. And Dragon Lee. And Jesse Ventura. Okay. I can at least give NXT credit. And Shawn Michaels. I can keep going. I don't want to really glaze that much. We're going to have to raise some popularities up. Rhea's at a 67 now. I hate that I just said that. She should not be there. She should be a lot higher. All right, I'm going to tell you this now. I will read Rhea's. I don't even care what anyone's got to say. Unless y'all giving me money, which I don't think y'all are. Rhea should be able to win her next match. I'm not making any guarantees, but she probably should. All right. I think we just got a lot right there, by the way. This would have been a great week to have Sheamus on the roster since we're in freaking Ireland. But anyways, as of right now, this is more than likely going to be our last season. The next time around, it'll be the start of our last season the next time that we're here. I really have to go to the bathroom, which is kind of the case when we're in a lot of these videos, so y'all don't really need to know that, but I told y'all that anyway. So the next time that we're here, we should be starting the last season. And I'll see y'all whenever that is. So take care, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all, because I'm out for now. Goodbye.